Hey YouTube, welcome back to a brand new Animal Crossing New Horizons video. Today we are breaking down the latest New Horizons TV commercial and taking a closer look at some of the new furniture items in the game. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. So yet another new Animal Crossing trailer dropped just this morning, showing off a more developed island. We'll take a look at the short scenes the trailer starts off with, but the interesting stuff is towards the end, where it pretty much shows some gameplay of a fully developed island with lots of furniture and new details, so we'll spend a bit more time on those. It's pretty difficult now to keep track of what we've already seen in other trailers and screenshots at this point, but there's definitely plenty of new things to see. The trailer starts with a typical spring season from the northern hemisphere, focusing on the cherry blossom trees. Nothing too special here, but we do get to see a nice villager house with a wall constructed right at the front. Next we have another tiny clip of the player running through a bit of a built up area where the villagers live. We can see Pashmina in the front there doing a spot of sweeping, Jitters can be seen admiring the fallen cherry blossom, and Boone right at the far back weirdly staring at a football. I really hope this is an indicator that the footballs we've seen are in fact kickable balls from the original. I would absolutely love for those to return. Anywho, we start to get some more interesting stuff now. The next clip shows the player running down the island in a fairly undeveloped area. Here we get to see a brand new signboard just in the centre there. It's quite a small detail, but you can just make out Rossetti on the sign, which is pretty cool. I'm sure it's not linked to him in any way, but it's really cool to see some classic characters incorporated with furniture items. There are a few other small details here in this clip, like the caution sign shown at the back, which I think is new, at least in New Horizons, before the player puts on their landscaping, terraforming, super duper Nook Inc. hard hat. This trailer is effectively demonstrating how an island can look from an early point in the game when the villagers are just started to move in, to where it can be when you start designing outdoor layouts and terraforming land. Anyway, this tiny clip is the first time we get to see a wider variety of boxes just casually sat around while the player is working on terraforming the cliffs and making some space. I'm pretty sure these are just items. We also get a close-up of the teacup fair ride in the bottom right corner, which we'll see more of later. The next clip continues with the development of the island and once again shows the player terraforming the cliffs, but this time she's digging out land using the waterscape permit, making the waterfall wider. I still can't believe this is a thing and I'm super excited it exists. Of course, we get a good look at a 3-tier or 3-layer island here, which is really cool, but we can also see a new rope style fence, which is perfect to cordon off an area when you're busy constructing. We can also see a new no entry signboard, which is very reminiscent of the signs in the original. The trailer continues demonstrating island development as the player now begins constructing some paths between the ramp from the cliffs at the back down to a steel bridge, which I think is the first time we've seen a steel one, at least in actual gameplay. Here we can see the development of the area is already starting to take shape, but more importantly, we have some wonderful new furniture items shown here, including the old school yellow telephone, a brass kettle maybe, and something the world is going crazy for right now, toilet roll. However, the most interesting thing to me in this scene is the folding table that appears to have a soldering iron on the top. I'm wondering if this is some sort of crafting bench or something, or maybe the items look so realistic I'm just assuming they all serve a real purpose. I don't know, either way, it's cool. Next up we have a couple of super tiny scenes that are basically run for a second before we get into the good stuff. So here we can see the player is now running up the cliff she was just creating the paths for after having decorated the area with some cool looking furniture items. Here we can see a cool arcade style machine, which I'm really hoping is an actual playable minigame. I think deep down we all want something like the NES games to return, but also we have a pinwheel game and a candy floss machine along with a cool mask stand. I'm pretty sure the item itself is just a stand and we can literally display any mask or headwear that we like just by walking up to it. It looks pretty awesome. We can also see a few other larger items at the top there too, but we'll get to those. Next we have probably the tiniest scene of all the clips. Don't worry, they get significantly bigger soon. But here we can see some orange and I think purple cosmos flowers, if that is what they are, which is the first time we're seeing crossbreeding or hybrids in a trailer. I could be wrong, but I think it's super hard to remember everything at this point, but they look amazing. Purple and blue flowers have always been a favourite of mine. Again, there is clearly a giant reptile in the back there, but we'll get to that. And the last tiny clip shows this area of development nearly complete as the player erects a colourful sign. We also get a good view of a nice little cart of some description. I'm not entirely sure what this is. It could be like one of those portable music carts or something like that. If you know what this is, let us know in the comments. Anyway, another cool little feature I'd like to point out here is the circular stepping stone style path. This is obviously 4 path tiles constructed on the ground, but each corner has been smoothed off to create a nice circle, which I think is really nice. It's not an actual item as such, but I'm counting it. Finally, we're at the scene that's completely developed and kitted out with all kinds of furniture items, which is what this trailer has been working towards. We can see pretty much everything we've mentioned and more. The most obvious is the giant robot in the back there, which I think we first saw in Happy Home Designer, and of course a massive and super cool Godzilla to the right there. Another new item is the rocket in the back, just on the edge of the cliff. Personally, I love space and everything that comes with it, so I'm looking forward to seeing if I can create some kind of space station area on my island. Anyway, we also have some wind turbines, which is a classic public works project from New Leaf right at the far back. But the coolest items in this scene are the racing car beds. How cool are they? We actually have seen these before, I remember them from a screenshot, but they're still worth a mention. And the final thing to note from this scene is the giant We're Open sign, which is a great fit for this area. Clearly the player was going for those theme park vibes, and it really works. So the trailer is now at a point where it's showing off what a fully developed island can look like after lots of work, so we're starting to wrap things up with some other fully developed areas. The next is this amazing looking museum scene with 5 lots of stairs or steps leading up from the lowest level to the top cliff. I absolutely love this, and I'm blatantly copying this idea for my own island. Anyway, here we can see some sort of Egyptian tomb or casket in the very centre, which fits in perfectly with the exterior of the museum, and we can see some sphinx on either side on the edges of the cliffs, creating an amazing entrance to the entire building. The whole scene looks awesome. The next developed area is the gorgeous zen-like hot spring, and actually there's lots going on here. The first thing is the player is walking around the island in just a towel, which is a pretty cool item of clothing for those of you who, well, like walking around islands wearing towels. In the far left we can see some hot springs and some wooden baths which look amazing. I love the zen vibes of this scene. Of course, we also have some large steam pots over the fire at the top, and a few decorative rocks dotted around here and there. However, a noticeable feature that I don't think we've seen before is the Stonehenge in the top right. Of course, we've seen this in New Leaf before, but never in New Horizons, so it's nice to know more and more old public work projects will return as craftable items in this game. The second from last scene is this Gladiator themed sports arena, which again looks incredible. I'm starting to worry I'm not going to be able to think up anything as cool as these scenes for my own island. Anyway, here we have a full boxing ring, which is cool, with Ike, who's returning from the Welcome Amoeba update to New Leaf, Mac the dog and the original Renee all taking front row seats. We can also see a bell at the very bottom, as well as a bunch of animals and statues all around the arena. The obvious is the 2 gold and silver bears overlooking the entrance, but there are also some goats and some elephants or boars maybe towards the centre. And of course the rest of the entrance and the arena is made up of some new stone style columns and archways. And this of course takes us to the final scene of the trailer. Thank you so much if you're still watching at this point. I think this video is going to be way longer than I expected, so if you're still here, please leave a like. Anyway, here we have another nice example of a 3-tier island completely terraformed to add some dark and creepy vibes to a house that's most likely haunted on top of the hill. Again, we get a nice look at some well positioned waterfalls and ramps, but the key item here is the moon. It's actually an item that's slowly rotating and just looks awesome. This could be the first time we're seeing a player's house that's also been upgraded to include an upstairs. Seems we can see the upstairs window there too, which is really cool. So yeah, this trailer comes to a close with the title scene and the release date. For me personally, this was a great trailer and really inspires me to get stuck into my island and try to be as creative as possible. There's so many good ideas here and I really enjoyed seeing some of the gameplay from a more developed island. Of course, there will be items I missed that we haven't seen before, so if you spotted anything, be sure to let us know in the comments. Anyway, for now, that pretty much wraps up this video. If you're an Animal Crossing fan, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any New Horizons news. Until then, I'd like to give a special thank you to this channel's Patreon supporters. You guys rock. don't forget to head over to our Discord server too, and of course if you got this far in the video, please comment developed just to let me know you did. That would be super awesome, and please be sure to include which item was your favourite and whether or not you like the idea of crafting a hot spring. Personally, the rocket was my favourite, and also the giant Godzilla, because why not? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it entertaining. Please be sure to leave a like if you did. Thanks for watching, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.